Hello everyone, sonicxsam, and we're back. So, just like I said before, I wanted to watch a video about what everything was about. What was all this, the ending, and all this stuff? What was going on? And I found a few videos explaining the story and the ending. So I was like, okay, we'll watch one of them. And here we are. Kind of just picking one random to listen to a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to talk about this so much already. So let's go. Oh, the person also here is a person called VGS Gaming. Here's the name. Support this person because we're using the video and watching it. Thank you.
The new indie title 12 Minutes provides an interesting mediation on what it means to really understand what you know. That may be an interesting concept, but can lead to a confusing game. If you've played through the game, you've watched it online, and you want to understand what all of these 7 different endings mean, what really happened in that time loop, I have a couple of theories here that I think will clear this up and perhaps give you some insight that you didn't have before. The basic story of 12 Minutes is told through the perspective of a man that's coming home to meet his wife. He goes through a hallway he's gone through so many times, an apartment he's gone through so many times,
Right.
wherein he meets his wife, they have dessert, and she springs on him the unexpected reality of them having a baby. That baby she wants to name Dahlia after his deceased mother, when all of a sudden someone bursts in claiming to be a police officer, handcuffs both of them, asks your wife where a pocket watch is, and then kills you. After that moment, you are looped back into that first initial meeting with your wife, with her not realizing that this all happened before, and you forced to relive it again and again and again. From there, you discover.
What's so interesting about this as well that I always tell people this is what's kind of like different about this game is that the loop thing is just it's happened a few times, but in game form it just feels so much more authentic, and with the acting and how like down the earth you can this is some probably lives that some of you guys are living. You guys live in an apartment with your significant others or whatever. It just feels very very relatable. Like you can believe this is happening.
A deep, dark mystery that basically entails that your wife's family life growing up was not good. Her
Clearly.
slept with their nanny and had a child. This child ended up being such a burden on the family, such a point of shame, that your wife's mother eventually died due to just the incredible pain she felt from this betrayal.
And probably stress,
Adding
honestly.
to the betrayal, the nanny that birthed your wife's half-brother died during childbirth. Your father never officially adopted this illicit love child, and it essentially ruined your wife's family. Years later, while your wife was having an argument with her father, she shot him, believing that she had actually killed her own father. She fled the scene until she eventually met you miles and miles away. This happened 8 years ago. During that time, she inherited a family heirloom known as a pocket watch that was worth a lot of money. As you were preparing to have this new family together, she was going to sell that pocket watch at a local thrift store. Once she did that, though, it tipped off the cop. This character that comes into the loop and ends up killing you and your wife just to make sure he can grab that timepiece. He was very close to your wife's father, saw him as a mentor, a substitute dad, and he was there in the final moments of her father's life. But it turns out her father didn't actually die the first time he was shot. He died a week later. This cop believed that your wife came back to finish the job, but you're able to prove to him with a Polaroid on the refrigerator in this apartment that that couldn't be the case. So at that point, you're able to, in this loop, as you keep going back and forth, find out more about the cop who's trying to get this pocket watch, get his revenge as well, but mostly get the pocket watch so he can pay for the cancer treatment for his ailing daughter. As you move the story forward, you're able to convince your wife you're stuck in a time loop.
Right.
She is able to convince, with the help, actually.
What honest? Oh, sorry. Dakota, the dog I'm taking care of right now. The babysitting for my sister is playing with her toy. But yeah, just to make your wife easily believe as much as she did about the loop, it's pretty wild. You know, how would you take that? You know,
Of the cop's daughter, that she didn't actually commit this crime, that it would be impossible, and that it's likely the person that did is her half-brother, that illicit love child that ruined their family and was essentially abandoned by her father. So the trail then becomes focused on who this person is. Neither character really remembers. The one thing they do remember, though, is the name of the nanny. Something flowery, daisy, daffodil. It's at that point when your character can get that onesie gift that was going to be given to you at the beginning of this loop, which has the name Dahlia on it. Dahlia is the name of your deceased mother, which leads your character to the revelation that you are, in fact, the half-brother.
that's fucking. See, this is what got me. I can't believe that we were playing as the half brother all along, and we never fucking knew. That is wild, like for real.
That you killed your wife's father, your father, and that you have now an incestuous love child with your wife slash sister. So there is a lot
Alabama.
to consume there in a pretty short amount of time. But these events, these choices that you've made in the loop will lead you to the ending scenes, the ending loops. Before this time, everything happened in the apartment. Now, once your character figures that out, you're then transported into a completely different scene, a library, where someone who's identified as your father, played by the same actor, Willem Dafoe, that plays the cop, is explaining to you how wrong it is for you to love your sister and that you have to do something different.
Okay.
It's at this point that there are actually 6 or even 7 unique endings that can occur. So let's go through them very quickly.
Okay, sure.
Some
awesome.
of them are a little more complex and
This
a
makes
little
it
hard
easy
to understand, but I want to go
This helps. This is gonna help a lot, so people can see all the endings.
through them quickly. The first one and the simplest one you can actually only get when you first start the game. I think it's kind of a wink to the audience sort of ending. Basically, you start the loop, walk into your apartment, and do nothing. Once you do nothing, the character of your wife kind of steers the conversation in a direction she doesn't normally, and she takes you out of that apartment. The loop still continues, but this is considered a divergent ending. One of the more gruesome endings is the coward ending, where you knock out your wife, capture the cop, and then do everything he says to make it look like your wife committed suicide. Really horrific, really strange. Don't recommend it. This is, of course, followed by...
That's probably one of some of the worst endings. Like, because you basically, if that loop didn't happen, she would have been dead, and she wasn't really the killer, even though she thought she was. It would have been real justice. It is really fucked up because you're letting a guy kill your wife. You know,
one
like,
of the more touching and beautiful endings, when you're able to actually trick the cop through his daughter into not even coming into the apartment. This gives you the chance to have one beautiful, perfect, uninterrupted night with your wife. Everything goes right. We're happy about the child, and you end up in the bedroom together. Keep listening, because this isn't actually, I think, incest when we go through and hear
so I wanted that ending.
Distinct theory. It's still...
I can't believe I didn't get that ending. That's exactly what I wanted the whole playthrough. God damn it.
Boots you back into the time loop. Another one is the confessed ending, where you tell your wife what happened, you take complete responsibility, you get the watch, you tell the cop what happened, you say you're the killer, you don't blame anyone else but yourself. He is so shocked by all this, he just takes the watch and leaves. Your wife locks herself into the bathroom and there's not a lot you can do.
Ooh,
There were
damn.
3 other main endings.
That ending must have been hard. I forgot you could even tell people that. Damn, man, that ending must have been tough to be with that ending where you told everybody, and then the cop said that he was so shocked. He's like, "I'm out of here." What the fuck?
Though that speak more towards completing this loop. The first one is called Alone. That's when you go back to this conversation with the father, now in a different setting, and you agree to his demands to just leave his daughter, your wife, alone. You're pushed back.
Oh wait, so the cop wasn't the dad somehow. Because obviously because he's dead. It was he was just the same voice actor, which I mean. It's a weird choice. Maybe he's trying to apply like what if any of this is real. I don't know. Hopefully he could explain this because that's what I'm kind of like being all funky about.
In the loop, but no one is in there and you are truly alone. The next one is called Continue. You only get this if you're able to cite a book of meditations that you in the loop saw your wife reading.
Hold on. Come here, Dakota. You want to come up? Okay, come on. Come on. Okay, Dakota. Okay. Are you gonna relax? Yeah, you're not gonna be up here if you're not gonna relax. Are you gonna relax, huh? Come on. If you need to be relaxed, then you can stay up here, okay? Sorry. Alright. Dakota wanted to be part of the video, I guess. Come on, Dakota.
This to your father, who then kind of says, okay, I will teach you how to forget this. I will teach you how to continue your life without remembering anything that happened. If you do that, the game actually starts right from the beginning once again, into the beginning of that loop. All of your progress is gone. The true ending, what I believe to be the true ending, is called mindfulness. This occurs very similar to the continue one. You have your conversation with your dad, and then at that point, you keep an eye on the clock. You look directly into the clock, and this is going to tie in a lot to the theory I have about this game. As you do that, time and the world around you slowly dissipates away, and the father explains that you make these strange worlds in your head.
Wait, what?
Finally, it's time to move on.
Like deception, like the Ash Ketchum being the coma and never going on the Pokemon adventure. Like, is that what we're talking about? If that's the case, that's wild. That is wild.
This will lead you into a state where you have the possibility of creating that loop again, but it's the only one where you have a final screen that doesn't kick you back in automatically. You have to do a lot of work to get back to it. So in my opinion, that is the truest ending. So, very confusing, very weird, and possibly very dark. I have a theory, though, that I think best describes and explains everything that happened in this game. There are a few different theories that I've considered, that, possibly you are the cop and you're reliving your past.
What?
This game is actually from the mind of the father in the final...
No way.
12 minutes as he's dying after his son shot him, and he's remembering all the bad things that happened, all the choices he's made. Those are persuasive, but I think the most persuasive one, the most true possible ending, is the idea that everything that happens in that apartment is happening within the mind of the brother. That you are not, in fact, married to this woman, and you don't have an incestuous child on the way. The cop isn't actually there to kill you, and perhaps doesn't exist. But instead, this is a therapy session. You are still the brother in this situation, and perhaps the only scene that is quote-unquote real is that first scene when talking to the father. That you are talking to him, he's discovered the possibility of you inadvertently or directly having feelings of love for your half-sister, someone who is related to you by blood. And he used his pocket watch, the watch that is traditionally used when we think about hypnosis, at least in media, to hypnotize someone, and he is trying as hard as he can in those 2 minutes before midnight to help you work through his shame and your shame, the mistakes that he has made as a terrible father to you and the rest of this family, and the mistakes you are making that aren't really necessarily your fault. These are virtues of birth. You were not born to that loving household that could direct you into a more healthy way of living. So this is your father essentially making amends. That's why the watch, I think, at first plays such an important figure in this storytelling. So as you're being hypnotized, you're going through your character's kind of imagination, the secret worlds that he's inventing of what this life could be with his half-sister, the happiness they could have. And that character, manifested by the same voice actor known as the cop, who is actually your father, intervening even in his fantasy.
So okay, this one I can believe. This actually sounds like really convincing. That like Dakota, can you relax? That like that's actually believable. Like none of this is real. It's all in your head, and you're going through like what this could be when you because obviously your sister doesn't know you love her yet. Because she basically doesn't exist. The sister we're seeing here in these scenes is not real. It's all in his head, and he's just seeing like the future, like in his mind, what it would be like. And then the cop is like is the dad intervening, so on. That's why you can kill him, and it all resets. And that would actually make sense why as soon as you kill a cop, it's instantly resets, because it makes sense, because you kill him and then everything goes back, because obviously it probably in the real thing that happened. Oh, sorry. When the real thing does happen, when he, I still believe you do actually still kill your father, and then that's why it also resets. So when you kill him in the cop, it also like is like you kill him in the real world where you actually physically really are. I mean, it sounds complicated because I think it's supposed to be.
Trying to protect his daughter, the one thing even the cop character believes more than anything, and is willing to do anything to protect. So I think this theory really does position away some of the initial confusion of like, why do we bring the clock back to those 2 minutes before 12? Why do we keep repeating those 12 minutes? This is an exercise while you've been hypnotized to try to find the truth within yourself, trying to tell you, the father trying to tell the son, that this won't work, and hoping he can realize that on his own. The apartment, as you go through loops, goes through changes as well, whether it is the garden buds, the flowers that grow. It's very clear that your psyche is represented by those flowers as you get all the different endings in a playthrough. There are more flower buds as you get more of a truer understanding of yourself. There's a literal Ouroboros on the wall from an egg based on the choices you've made to symbolize the continuous motion of it all. I think it's a very creative way to deal with something that is really difficult to deal with, trying to understand our own psyche and why we make the choices that we make and how to change it. This becomes incredibly interesting when you look at the ending options, like that perfect day, it's called Groundhog, that ending, when you delude yourself into believing you could be truly happy with your half-sister in this, fantasy reality you've created. You're thrown right back into the loop as if nothing changes. The alone ending is when you essentially agree with this kind of aggressive therapist that's trying to hypnotize you for his own means to kind of make good on the mistakes he's made. You can go through that. It's freeing, this idea, but you're torturing yourself. Your mind is stuck. I think that's what it represents anyway. Your psyche being stuck in this loop all alone. But the mindfulness ending, the true ending, in my opinion, is when you're able to recognize and deal with the pain that happened in your life as this brother and be able to be okay with it, to move forward. It's one of the only endings that gets you out of the loop in the realest sense. It moves you past it. It doesn't restart it. It doesn't trap you. You are now finally free. And this happens while you're looking into that moving clock, the clock that's been the central motif of the entire game. So I know there's many other theories out there that speak to this, but I am very confident, I would say 100% confident, that the events in the apartment did not happen. I am 90% confident that we are being hypnotized by our father, and it is a therapy session. I don't think we actually shot our father. I think that is meant to represent the damage that this sort of action could take. And in fact, we are living through this secret imagination, as the perfect ending does say, that we have this great imagination. We're trying to find happiness in a life that really hasn't had a lot, and a lot of that is due to the father and the love that he has for his daughter, but not for us. So I think it's a deeply upsetting look at what it is to be neglected and the traumas that are within it. It's very interesting that they used the incest motif to push that. Like, I would not have expected that. But yeah, I'm pretty confident this is how the story is being told. If you think there's anything that I missed that, really proves this is incorrect, I don't think it is. I've really looked at this backwards and forwards, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please comment below. And yeah, let's get to the bottom of this. I am worried that this is clearly something that you can never truly know, kind of like the ending of Little Nightmares 2 that I talked about here. But I'm more confident on this conclusion than I have been on a lot of others. So please tell me what you think. Amanda Burkowski for VGS.
Well, first of all, BGS like it, and I'm gonna subscribe. Good, nice thing. He made it very clear. First, I want to say this before we get into like the theory. First of all, thank you for doing this. Thank you for this, putting in a very, digestible, easy way to understand. My main thing is that there was a few things there I was unsure. Like, I didn't realize that was the name of your dead mom, and so on and so on. So him telling us this, to me, watching this did help me understand it even better. So good. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. It was very informative. Thank you so much. That this little portion is for the guy who made the video. So I just say, good job, brother. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you. Now, let's go into the theories. I want to say his final theory, it honestly sounds pretty foolproof. Probably, and I agree, that seems pretty much perfectly like how it makes sense. Any other theory is probably just not going to be as good as that one, I feel. That theory felt pretty much like what you would think, and I was pretty much on the same page on what I thought was going to be like. I was like, okay, this is just weird. There's no way that, like, it's just repeating, it's the same voice actor. It has to mean something, right? So, considering all this stuff and everything, I'm like, I actually 100% agree with what he said. I think this is the most convincing ending. I'm sure they left it open and doesn't have a true what's it called, and there's probably multiple ways they want you guys to like assume it's gonna be like. I'm assuming, but yeah, I feel like it's correct. It does seem like because it makes sense why the cop is the same voice actor as what's his name as the father, and like I said, every time you killed him, the cop, it would just instantly reset. Like if you would have killed your dad in the real world, like kind of like that, and that just constantly resetted it. So it just, to me, that just makes sense. Even if that didn't particularly be the reason why, like, it resets every time you kill the cop, I'm just like, it still just makes it more sensible to me, So honestly, after watching this, I hope you guys understand better. I understand way better now, and honestly, I feel more completed. It was a very interesting game. I honestly didn't think as well, like the guy said, that they would be using incest to like this. Sorry, the dog was doing something weird. To like describe this kind of story, to put this kind of like pressure, and I'm like, that's unique for sure, and I'm gonna remember this for a long time. This is gonna be one of those games I'm gonna be like, yeah, guys, check this game out. If you don't play it, watch someone play on YouTube, because the story's interesting, and it boggles the mind. And if you guys don't know, there's nothing I enjoy more than food for thought, something that's interesting to think about. And that's because I love a lot of Lovecraft and stuff, and that's all it is. It's okay. You want to say goodbye? Okay, come on. Let's say goodbye. Okay, guys. Well, this is sonicxsam. Dakota's gonna say bye. You wanna say bye, Dakota? Huh? Say bye. Say bye. Go wah 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 wah. Wah 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 wah. Okay. Alright, guys. Well, this is sonicxsam. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the good stuff you guys usually do. And remember, Head that connects all of us. And me and Dakota will fat with you next time.